Hi friends, and welcome to our final episode of Theme Park Thursday Series 1. We are going to be starting Series 2 next week with a trip to Disneyland and Disney's California Adventure, but this is the last week of the Series 1, which is the 3-volume scrapbook of the trip that I took just with my two daughters for Michelle's very last spring break from Auburn when she was a senior in college in March of 2022. However, I promised you last week that we had 1 week to go, but actually we ended up with needing one extra layout. So today's episode actually has 2 layouts. We're going to pretend it's like a double page spread, but it's 2 separate layouts. Hopefully that's okay. I know it makes the video a little bit longer, but I needed to wrap it up. So we've got, this is our final Disney layout. And then we have this one, which is the story of Katie trying to get home when all the flights were canceled out of Orlando. So that's just, no pictures of us. This is just something I printed off the internet. So not really I didn't feel like this deserved its own video. This is the layout that I care about and I love the most, but I'm glad I was able to tell the story. So stay tuned, buckle up for a little bit longer than usual because it is 2 layouts, but the very final episode of Series 1 of Theme Park Thursday till we meet again. All right, here we are. I have our last pictures for our whole Theme Park Thursday. This episode is going to actually be 2 layouts because I also have some text messages I printed out that we're going to use for the last page because I ended up, not last week's not being a double page. So I have this picture of us a selfie that we took, and then it looks like either we had somebody take our picture. I probably had somebody take our picture, and these 2 look very much the same. I mean, it's all the same picture. One's from far away. I think this is the best one. So I think I'm not going to use those 2. And I still kind of want to stick with some of those same colors that we've been using. Maybe do it on that Starry Night shimmer or the deep blue shimmer, whichever color I had. Although I could do it on like the pink shimmer or something with the lights with the train station. I'd like to work in some of those papers that we have. So maybe let's pull out, what did we use? Magic Moments. So here's Magical Moments. I called it Magic, it's magical. I tidied up my workspace a little bit and now I don't know where all my scrap pieces are. I thought I just stuck them in the same folder like I usually do. I know I have scraps left of this. I wonder if they're in the Epic Adventures folder. Ha! Sure enough, this is Epic Adventures. Oh, these are the ones that I put sticky on. Oh, no, not that one. This one I put sticky and then I had to cover it up with that powder. Same with this one. It'd be nice to use these 2 that I didn't use. Probably not that one. Yeah, I put this all in a folder called Epic Adventures and it's really called Magical Moments. So let's pull those out. And actually, I probably don't need these big Power Project folders for this. I can use the smaller folder because this is just, this one. It's just the paper and the embellishments. So I don't want to use this. I mean, I really do like these little spaceships with the pink and blue. What perfect Disney colors for spaceships. But I don't think so. I don't think this isn't doing it for me. Even though I'd really like to use this paper that I already put stuff on. And I'd really like to use my scraps. But what other ones did we use? We used, I used Mermaid Cove. I used Enchanted. I've got the pink. I used Sweet Summer. The only paper I have Sweet Summer that I like is the pink with suns on it, though. I don't want to use the suns. I'm thinking we could just do something with like a square. Maybe we do something around a border. Do I do something in a circle? I did a lot of circles in this book, but I didn't do any like single page circles. I like a single page circle. What could we do? Let me think for a minute. So I'll tell you a secret, and that is a lot of times when I pull my hands out of the screen, it's so that later on when I'm editing, if I know I'm going to sit and think for a few minutes, I know that I'm not going to be talking. So I just cut out 2 or 3 minutes of me. Well, I haven't done it yet because I'm still recording. But when I go to edit this, I'm going to cut out that time of me just sitting, thinking about what to do. And I realize I've got my my circle cutter right here, and I'm actually a presenter at an advisor training retreat in Atlanta in June, and I'm going to be teaching a class about using the circle cutter. And so I was working on a layout to include with my class, and I haven't really used my circle cutter all that much for this project. And I think I want to. So I think that's what we're going to do is we're going to do something with a circle cutter. And I think I might want to use that star ombre paper from, I just started to call it the Little Mermaid, from Mermaid Cove. So here's my Mermaid Cove. Oh, look, I've even got stuff that's like pre-made. This is that thing with where you do a circle and you fold it down. That makes a neat effect. This of all, I jokingly talk about how this is my beloved Mermaid Cove, my favorite paper pack. But I mean, the proof is in the pudding, right? How many packs of Mermaid Cove have I used? This paper is the one I'm thinking of right here. Oh, that one's already cut, but like this one, I love this one. I love that paper. That's kind of magical and fun. It's called, I think they called it Ocean Floor, but I think it's like kind of galaxy-esque. Here's a piece we cut out last week. I got this one. I actually have a bunch of circles already cut out, but I'm not going to use them because I want us to start from scratch with this. Kind of. I was thinking I was going to use this and do something with the circle. But maybe I'll do something with this. And it's actually a layout kind of style I've done before. I could do something. I could put this on the sides. Okay, I think I'm gonna recreate a layout that I taught at a different advisory retreat a couple of years ago, where you kind of use a circle and you spread it out across, and it's in my head, it's working. So let me find a background color to use with this. I kind of would like to do the blue shimmer that we used, but maybe I should do a different color just to make it separate from last week's layout. Let me see what I got. All right, I pulled out the galaxy paper so I could match, and I think that I'm gonna like this berry punch shimmer. I think that's gonna go all right. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to do like a border down each side, and then this strip in the middle of this berry punch, and do something with the circles. So let's get out my trimmer and figure out what measurements we want to do. So my picture is 5 1/4. So if I do a 7-inch piece down the middle, and I do a 2-inch piece on each side, that should work. So I wish that I had, I was thinking, I wish that they would bring Mermaid Cove back again. They actually, this is one of the very few paper packs that they brought out more than once. They re-released it. I want to say that it came back in 2020 or 2021, and then it was around for a really long time. So I don't think we're going to be seeing Mermaid Cove around for a while. I want to leave a 1/4 inch at the top and bottom, so I'm going to cut a 1/2 inch off the bottom here. Oh, I'm going to save it because I love it. All right, so if we do this, let me get my mat out. So if this was 7 inches, which means it needs to be 2.5 from either side. Which means if I do a piece that is 2 inches, that'll give me that 1/4 inch gap on either side. So I'm going to cut 2 2-inch strips of the ombre, which might be a little bit too, it's awfully bright. You know how I feel about the nighttime papers. But what I think I'm going to do, I have to cut a 1/2 inch off, and I'm going to cut it off the top, which is the pink, which really is my favorite color. But that'll bring more of the blue. But I want the pink to be at the top. I like the darker colors to kind of be at the bottom. All right, and then what I think I want to do is do like a circle right here around this. And then we'll do circles kind of going off the edge. It makes sense to me, even if it doesn't make sense to you. So we're going to move this to the side. And I'm going to bring this here. And hopefully you guys have all seen my Post-it note hack. I will try to remember to link to the video in the comments, but this has changed my scrapbooking life, changed the way I feel about the circle cutter. When it first came out, I didn't love it. That would be an understatement. I didn't love it at all. I thought this is the dumbest thing, and I didn't want to use it. But then once I figured out my little Post-it hack so that I can put this exactly where I want it, whenever I want it there, I like it. The sky's the limit. It has opened up all sorts of possibilities for me. So basically, I'll link to the video, but if you've already watched the video and you just need a quick reminder, you just go from corner to corner on a 3-inch Post-it note to find the center, because that's going to line up with the center of your circle cutter. And then you measure, this is 1 1/4 inches between these two spaces. And then this line, you're going to be able to line the front of your circle cutter, and this line will line up your square. So we'll do that in just a second. But so what I want to do for this is I want the center of my circle to be where this picture is. And I think I'm going to do something like this with this picture. So my center of my circle needs to be like right about, well, I want to put it in the center. So we'll see. We'll center this. Okay, so this is 7. So the center is at 3.5. And I want it to be right here on the 4-inch line. So I'm going to put my ruler at 3.5 to find the center. And then I want this to be on the 4-inch line. And it doesn't really matter which direction you put your Post-it note. You just want... You basically, the main thing you want is to find that center piece. That little dot is the thing that matters the most. All right, but now I want this circle to be outside of here. And this is 5 1/4. So if I go to 5 1/2, I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start right here. I'm going to put my circle cutter at 5 1/2. All right, and these are going to have to be, oh, you know what? That's not what I want to do, because you need to always come in from the outside. So All right, let's write these down. So I want my final circle to be 5.5. And then I want the gap circle, I want to leave 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch. And then the gap to be 5 3/4 maybe. So basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to cut a circle right here. And then we want to cut some little half circles that go off of it, right? I might actually have done a video on this layout technique before. So this needs to be 5.5, which means that this little gap needs to be 5 3/4. And then I can leave this as an inch, but because I want to leave an inch gap, I have to add 2 inches. So I'm going to do 7 3/4, and then I'll do 8, and then I'll do 10, and 10 1/4, and that might be enough because this is only 11. Yeah, that'll be enough. Okay, so we're going to work backwards, and I'm sorry if this is confusing, but it's making sense to me. So I'm going to start. You always want to start from the outside in because otherwise you're going to cut off your thing, your you know, the piece that holds still. So I'm going to start at 10 1/4. And actually these are kind of weird because it doesn't have the 1/4 inch mark. So I think I'm going to do the 10.2, which is the little, like the little line. Oh, sorry about the glare from the camera. Anyway, the little, from the light, I mean, so it's like one little tick mark past the 10 because they've got 2, 4, 6, 8, and then you go to the next one. Okay, so this one, it's not going to work on this side because it's too short. So I'm just lining up the front of my cutter with that line, and then this black line right here. See that black line? I'm lining up with that. And if I wanted to, I could poke my head in and make sure that it's, you know, lined up on both sides, but you don't really need to. As long as this line is straight, it works out, okay? So 10 1/4. All right. And then what I want to do is leave a gap. So then I'm going to scooch it down to just the 10, and it's just going to leave a tiny gap. Again, I'm lining it up, trying to get it as straight as I can and as aligned as I can. This is not like precision engineering. Don't use this to like build a car. But then that just takes that little piece off. And then I'm going to go down to the 8. And the reason we're going to 8, I want a 1 inch gap, and I probably should have done something. I could have done another one here. You want a 1 inch gap, but because it's a circle, you need an inch on either side, right? So if you're doing a ring, if you were doing a, if I'd done a 10 inch ring and then I wanted an 8 inch ring, to get 1 inch on either side, I have to have 2 inches. So again, hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to go down to this 8. And the actual measurements don't matter that much. We just want to make sure that we cut the right amount off. Okay, so there's my next little piece. I probably should keep this just to keep everything straight. And then I'm just going to scooch this down 1 tick mark again. Actually, I can move these out of the way. I should have done, that one could have gone all the way around. All right, I'm going to go back to the 8 and see if it will go the other direction. Because this is not a full circle, oh yeah, look, it's going to cut these pieces off on this side. So that's at the 8. That's barely a little hair. So now I'm going to go down 1 tick mark to 7.8 or whatever. I'd rather have it be a little bit too wide than a little bit too narrow. And so this one I'm going to cut one little piece off this side, and we'll go all the way around and cut one little piece off this side. All right, so that's 7.8, so I'm going to go down to 6. Oh no, I want this to be, this final one to be 5.5. So I'm going to go down to 5.8. So whatever that one hash mark before the number 6 is. Oh, my paper is 7 inches, so this is actually going to make my circle all the way around. All right, so that's at 5.8, and then at this last one, I'm going to go down 1 tick mark to 5.6, which is close to 5.5, which will give me what I want for the rest of my pictures. Spacing. Oh, and actually, I didn't quite get it centered. You can see that this side is skinnier than that side, but it won't matter. Okay, so now, I guess I need to keep that. Now, we're going to bring all our pieces back. And I probably should have stuck these outside pieces down first, but I'm going to put this at the bottom. I'm wishing I would have done a 1/4 inch gap now, just because I have a 1/4 inch gap on these other sides. I guess I could bring this in smaller this way if I feel like I need it. All right, and then this piece will come in here. And because you can't just cut it and stretch it, because you need the pieces to still fit in the space you have. If I would have just spaced it, I mean, I guess I could have just spaced it and then trimmed that end off. But now I've got this kind of spacing. I may end up having to cut some of that off just to make it all line up correctly. This one's hard because of that little space. I don't exactly know how it lined up right there. Maybe like that. I don't know. I don't know what direction we cut it in. Oh, looks like that one fits. All right, and then I can put my picture right here, and then this one will come down here, and I have that kind of illusion of a frame. But I do think I want to scoot these in just a little bit. But if I do that, then that's going to give me a weird spacing on either side. So then maybe I want to do maybe I just want to space these out a little bit. Well, I can't because of the middle one. I can trim this off if I need to, but that gives me that spacing and that spacing right there. All right, I think I'm going to stick these down. It's funny, I talk about how I love Mermaid Cove. I don't really like the oceany part of it. Like this purple paper with the little seashells and stuff on it, I almost never use that one. All right, I'm going to put this one on this side, and then I'll put this one on this side, and then I can use it as a guide for my other, and I'll do this piece last because in case I need to trim it. And I'm just using the lines on my grid here, on my cutting mat, just to help me with the spacing. Hopefully we all know how to do that. Okay, that's about right. So now let's take this top piece. Let's see. Again, I tidied up my workspace. I've been working on this darn scrapbook room reorganization whenever I get a few minutes, and I just ordered some things from Michael's to help get me organized. But then, you know, when I get organized, I put stuff away. So stuff that was just out, it's not out anymore. I'm just going to butt this up against itself right here. Uh-oh. And use this as my positioner. I gotta do it this way because that doesn't look like it's centered. Quarter-inch gap. So if I put it right there. And right there. It actually feels like it's a little too close on this side, but I think it's okay. It's a little bit of extra repo. One of the things I love to do is just to, you know, add this repo on the little pointy ends of things. And then I'll put this right along here on the 3.5-inch line. That's the edge of my design. And I probably should do repo for all of this, but so I could, if I'd kept these in order, put, you know, one of these circles right in here to keep it spaced, but I don't remember which circle is which, so I'm just gonna have to try and do that little 1/8 of an inch gap. And it is hard to work with some of these because they don't necessarily like to lie straight. All right, does that look centered? I kind of am not liking this gap here versus that gap there, but I can always scoot those in if I need to. Yeah, see, if I do it like that, it should, it's just a hair, because I'm just spacing it. I'm just going to trim off just a little tiny bit off this edge, just because I've obviously left more of a gap than I cut into it. All right. I think that looks pretty cool just by itself. Do I round the corners? I kind of want to round the corners. I didn't round corners for a long time, but I feel like this is roundy. So we're going to do it. We're going to round the corners. And I think I'm going to, I think I might say till we meet again. You know, part of me wants to say see you real soon. I don't think I want it straight. Maybe I want it like this. Both of these in the circles. Oh, I think I like that, except that it's going to be on the right-hand side. So maybe I want it like this. This will be my focal point photo. I think I like that better. But now I feel like I need something right here, and I want to do something that goes right in this gap. But Mermaid Cove is these little vines. I don't want to use the little seaweed vines. I want little tiny circles. Oh, maybe I want to just draw with my little gel pen. The Creative Memories ones are in fact the Jelly Roll brand that I love. They're the 0.8. So I'm thrilled that that's what CM has chosen to offer, so we can have access to it. All right, so this is the Jelly Roll 0.8. And same like I told you maybe last week, you want to make sure that when you, maybe I'll just do the little swirly lines. When you draw with this, you don't go faster than the ink can keep up with. You know, my inclination is to go speedy. And it's faster, it's easier to do this when the picture is not on there. So even though some of this is going to be hidden by the picture, I'm just going to do my little swirls. Oh, should I bring it down? I'll bring it down. So I'm just doing swirlies. Swirl, swirl. My thumb's in the way, sorry. Swirl, swirl, swirl. Two in one direction. Sometimes they're longer, sometimes they're shorter. But it adds a lot. I was thinking the other day, like, what could I do a YouTube on? And what if I pulled out my old flyers? I got all these old flyers from like the 90s where we used to go to crops, and I remember going to my very first Creative Memories consultant's crop, and she would give us these Xerox copies of, you know, ways to draw lace or how to, you know, enhance your page. And we did tons of that. You know, we had nothing. We had no die cut machines. I remember it was like a big deal. You could volunteer in your kid's school classroom, and then sometimes the teachers would let you could have access to the die cut machine that they would use for their classrooms. And that was a big deal, to kind of take your own paper and cut some ABCs or something, shapes. And then of course, then the Sizzix came out, and it was like, oh, I could just have this at home. And oh, how little did we know what the future was going to have when it came to die cuts and Crickets and computer graphics and all that stuff. Okay. I think that's good. I think I like that little line in there. All right. Oh, upside down. Do I need to go all the way around the edges? Maybe, but I kind of don't want to, so maybe no. All right, so we'll do this here and this here. And then we can just do a title right here. It needs something else, but I don't know what. I'm gonna stick my pictures down. I probably could matte them if I matted them on this Berry Punch shimmer. That would probably be a good thing, but I'm not going to. I really like how this is turning out. But now it needs something else. It needs, and again, I'm seeing this, messed up that little spot right there. Feeling like I need something that goes across the top and across the bottom. And you know what? We had a Border Maker cartridge that was like a little hanging star garland. That might work. Little stars, and then something across the bottom. I don't know what. Maybe just a stripe of color. Let me see if I can find the hanging stars. All right, so these are the hanging star. I think it was called the Star Garland. But I also pulled out this one. This was the Sea Stars, and I like that one too. But I think I want the hanging stars, and I think I want blue. blue shimmer. And I think it's this blue. You can see I still have the starry from a couple weeks ago in there. So this star garland is one that I remember as being a little bit fiddly. I think because it's a chain and it cuts, I obviously punched something that had the little triangles to line up. So snip that off. It's just real delicate, and it's these delicate ones. Look, I even have something caught in there. It's these delicate ones that seem to have the most trouble. Oh, look at that. I've got like some gold shimmer like caught in the housing of the punch. Okay. It's like a little blast from the past. So this is one that I'm going to do the every other punch hack. I don't know if I like that word hack, but the technique where instead of punching 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oh boy, it didn't even punch all the way through, I don't think. Oh, it tore. Okay, maybe this one doesn't work. Why didn't it punch? Like I feel like I could feel it in here that when I punched down, it didn't punch all the way through. Darn it, I don't want this punch to be broken forever. And it could be that I was being a little bit too cautious. Or it could be that it doesn't like this paper. So we're going to try something else. You can see that gold cardstock up in there. I don't know if you guys can see it in there, but it's down in there somewhere under that star. Anyway, we're going to try something else, which is another little hack that I've used sometimes with the shimmer paper. Because the punches are made to punch through the thickness of cardstock, sometimes our shimmer paper is a little bit too wimpy. And I think because I wasn't punching, I don't know, it just gets caught up. So I'm going to use a piece of just this paperweight cover paper from one of our paper packs, and we're going to punch through double thickness. And for some reason on the lighter weight papers, sometimes that makes a difference. This punch itself might just be one I can't use. So I'm glad I had a backup, but maybe we will be using the Sea Star shimmer after all, but I hope I can make this work. Although when I punch it, I wish I could get that little star that's trapped in there. I wonder if that's what's causing this to be messed up. Because even when I punch it with no paper in it, okay, that one worked. That one goes all the way through. That one goes all the way through. So let's try it again. I'm still going to do, actually, I think I'm going to stand up. See, it's not punching. I'm like, what? I don't know what it's, where the problem is. It's funny because when I used that medallion frame chain a couple weeks ago, I was worried that it wouldn't punch, and then it punched fine. And this one I wasn't worried at all. I knew it was fiddly, but I thought it worked. And see, once I punch it, I have to start a whole new row, which is a pain. So, I'm going to try, good grief. If I had tweezers, that would probably work better, but I don't have any tweezers handy. Let's try punching it and see if we can just punch through. All right, I'm going to try again. That one seemed to work. But again, once I punch it, it gets stuck. And so nowhere am I seeing the punched out shape. And I don't know if if I just got a dud or if I've used mine up, but apparently that's not going to work, and I don't want to risk any more of my paper. So we are going to use the sea stars, because that one I know will work. And yeah, darn it, I like that one. But this one I think we can try without a secondary paper. Now I'm a little bit leery. So if you're using a border punch you haven't punched in a while, maybe, you know, tread lightly. Practice on a scrap paper the first time. So I punched this once, but you can see that once you punch it, it gets a little bit floppy. And so anytime I'm doing the chain on the lightweight paper, I like to skip and do every other, because that just helps my paper to have this structural integrity. Because watch when I pull this out, see how it dropped to the bottom? When it drops to the bottom, that's, in my opinion, one of the reasons things get caught in these trimmers. I don't know if I like this though on the layout. Hang on. I don't know. I feel like they look too much like sea stars. Because I'm using the Mermaid Cove paper, and then I'm using the sea stars, starfish chain. Maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I should go back to, let me figure out something else. I could do this one again. I could do it in that lagoon shimmer across the top. Then it's going to hide all of that. So I don't want to do that. Just do the stars across this middle section. But no, it's feeling too oceany to me. All right, let me find something else. All right, what about this diamond chain or the circles? I kind of like the circles. This is probably my favorite Border Maker cartridge ever. I like the cyclic circles, which is one of our current, but it's more of a knockout, and this is a chain. But this to me is kind of like little lights, you know. I think I'm gonna go with this one. Let's see if I have another piece of this blue paper already cut. All right, it's not cut, but it was in my scraps bin. Probably because I got it out and then I was too lazy to go put everything back where it needs to go in its real spot. I could almost get it out of this. I think I'm going to try getting it out of this last little piece because I just need the one, unless I decide to do one on the bottom. I could even do something with the stars from this in the circles of the circle chain. Uh-oh. My goodness, this is not my day on papers. I think I'm going to use the backup paper on this. I've never had a problem with this punch. It must be, must not be my day. So we're going to try double punch on this new piece. Problem could be that I love this circle so much that I've used it too much. Oh, that perched so much better. No issues at all. I think it's just the super thin, the shimmer cardstock. It just is, It's just finicky. Because frankly, I got to tell you, it's pretty embarrassing when you're doing this on YouTube and then nothing works. Okay. One little piece that I didn't line up quite right. Oh, I got my new purple microchip scissors. I wonder where those are. Oh yeah, I like that with the circles. Maybe like right there down the middle of that one. And I think I need one along the bottom, which means it's a good thing that I pulled out the second piece of paper because I need to use it anyway. I don't want to punch on top of my pictures though. I don't know why. It doesn't leave any damage. But I saw another advisor's Facebook that she has a little sticker that attaches to her border maker system at her crops that reminds people of the steps. You have to fold the tray out. Whenever I get somebody at a crop that hasn't been there in a while, you know, I've shown them how to use the border maker system. Anytime somebody gets stuck, I'm pretty confident that it's going to be they forget to fold out the little paper positioning tray. Yeah, see that works so. Oh, I still didn't get it quite lined up. Works so much better with the extra thickness of paper behind it. Do not do this with like cardstock, because if you have two layers of cardstock, then that's going to be too much. It's going to damage your punch. But when you have this real thin, lightweight shimmer paper or designer paper, sometimes you need that extra, just a little bit of stability to help make your punch work better. And of course, now I've got these two little white circles. I don't know how I managed to not get these lined up quite right, but save these. I like these little circles too. The inside of this circle is a nice size circle for decorative stuff. So a few weeks ago, I talked about how I need to do, I guess a couple of times I've talked about how I ought to have a little jar of confetti, and that would be perfect for that. So do I put them at the top and bottom? I'm almost wishing I would have centered this better. Look it upside down. No, I like it at the top. I think I'm just going to put them at the top and bottom. Right in the center of that. Right in the center of that. Yeah, it needs to be at the bottom. Okay. Where's my mat? All right. Here's my silicone mat. All right, I'm going to use my cutting mat, and I think I want to put these like right at an inch. So I'm going to put the bottom of the circle right at the 1 inch, and then of course 11 on that side. And we'll do the same up here. All right, I'm going to put it 11 and a all right, kind of want a little bit higher, like centered in this little circle. So maybe I'll put it here first and then see where that leads us. Feels like it's curving down. All right, so I'm putting it at like 11 and 1/8 on this side, so 1 and 1/8 on that side. All right, here we go. And let's do some sticker letters, and I might just do white sticker letters. I almost never just use the white sticker letters uncolored. Oh, I have purple sticker letters because I apparently didn't put any of my white ones away because they're somewhere else. I've got these white ones, the sans serif ones. I think I need to find the white ones. So apparently I have no idea where my whole stack of sticker letters are, but these are some that I used for Festival of Fantasy Parade. But I didn't put the word parade in, so maybe I'm going to go back and put the word parade in. So I'm just going to do till we meet again. Till we meet again. I think I'm going to trace around these with a pen, probably blue, and just write something like, you know, good night, Disney World. We've had a great week, or something like that. All right, and then we're done with this layout, but I am going to quickly do the next layout just because it's not going to be very decorative. It's going to be mostly journaling. And yeah, I mean, I promise you that you only had one more week left. So let me do that and I'll be back. So I usually do this part off camera, but as I'm doing this, I just want you to see what a difference it makes to have the letters traced, you know, to trace around those letters. And you would not think that something as simple as tracing around with just a little pen would make that much difference. But you do have to be really careful, have a steady hand, don't be in a rush. You guys have seen me mess up before. And it can be corrected, but it's a little harder on these white. But look at the difference. We'll do the E and then I'll do the rest off camera, because I'm sure you guys aren't geeking out about it the same way I am, but it makes such a difference. Especially here I've got white and there's kind of in a white background, but it just, yeah, if you haven't tried tracing around your letters, and I've done this with silhouette or Cricut cuts too, sometimes when I've cut them out, and especially if it's a font that like I didn't have a shadow for or something, but it needs something just to pop it off the page. It just makes such a difference to just a little bit of your pen work. I've done it with white gel pen on, you know, some letters, but this one, I think the dark, and it doesn't take that long. All right, and I'll trace around these, and then I'll do the journaling, and then we'll be done with this one. All right, so let me journal and be right back. All right, so here's the finished layout. I think this was enough of an embellishment with the little white lines. You know, I could maybe go back and put some little sparklies, but I think all these little sparklies work. I said, what a great girls trip we had. Sadly, Katie had to fly back to Utah early the next morning, so we had to say goodbye to Disney for now. So this would have been the final page in my book. I did promise you that this was the last episode of this series of Theme Park Thursday. But what happened the next day is that we took Katie to the airport at 8 in the morning, 8:40. And at 8:42, she checked in. She texted us with, this check-in line is absolute madness. And I said, hopefully 2 hours earlier enough. So I said that she had to be at the airport early the next morning. Obviously, her flight was at 10:30, so that's not that early. I'm still in line to check my bag. Then it took 35 minutes to check my bag, and now my flight is delayed 45 minutes. Now they said my flight had to alert to Jacksonville. Whoa, I just got delayed to 2:30. Wonder if they could reroute you out of Jacksonville in the morning. And she said, also, you may need to come pick me up. And then we're about 10 minutes away. So obviously in this point right here, there was a phone call. And what happened was there was a huge flight problem in Orlando. And I printed out this from a website, but they throw in so many ads. So I've got all these little things, but I think I could cut this. I mean, I don't have any photos, but I'd like to journal about what happened and how that kind of ended our trip. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a final page as like a little bonus with this layout. And I don't really know what I want to do as far as a background. I don't want it to be the night colors because it's not going to be night anymore. I'm going to trim this guy down. I did just screenshot these. I have in the past screenshot on my computer, on my phone, but I have gotten a new phone since March of 2022, and it didn't transfer over all my text messages. But luckily, I'm a Mac girl, and so on my desktop Mac, I was able to go clear back to 2022, March 12th, and get my messages and screenshot them there. So, and then this, we had later on in our conversation, Katie had found this article, Disney food blog, I guess. I kind of like this picture. I don't know that I like it this big, and I printed it out on my printer, so it's not, you can see they're kind of like the lines. Well, maybe you can't see it. So, but I don't care enough. So I think I'm going to cut this thing out. I'm not going to put that in. It may take a couple of days to sort out. Airport estimates predicted last week 300,000 people would travel through MCO Saturday and Sunday. 300,000 people. No wonder that airport is a nightmare. It's been difficult I think that's all I'm going to put in. I'm not going to do these other things. Like I don't need to do. Although this picture maybe is, maybe this is the picture that I want with all these cancellations, not this one. And it's got their little Disney food blog on there, so I don't feel like I'm stealing too much intellectual data. Yeah, it says the skies over Cinderella Castle were dark much of the day on Saturday. I think what happened, I ought to check my calendar, but I think what happened is that Saturday was our driving home day. Katie left Saturday, and then Michelle and I drove up to Jacksonville. My best friend was living in Jacksonville at the time. I have two best friends. One of them was living in Jacksonville at the time. Sorry if you're my other best friend saying, what? You're also my best friend. But she was living in Jacksonville, so Michelle very kindly let us detour through Jacksonville to spend the night at her house and just for me to get a chance to see her before we went home. And so what we did is we went and picked up Katie at the airport, and she was able to change her flight and fly out of Jacksonville the next day. And so we all got to go see my friend. But I'm a bad scrapbooker, and I didn't take any pictures when I was at my friend's house in Jacksonville. So something like this. And I think I'm just going to do like, at the top, and then I'll put these. This way. I'm off. I love this map because it shows where I can be. I'm going to have to trim these down. I should have shrunk that down a little bit. It's right here. I think I want this actually at the top. And then maybe I'll do this at the bottom. probably need to give credit to the Disney food blog for this article. Maybe I'll do, and then I'll journal right here, and then I'll credit the Disney food blog. I'm kind of thinking I want to do blue, but maybe I want to do something from one of our travel collections that has like airplanes on. I often don't get to use airplane paper because I don't travel mostly by air. I mostly drive, but this one could work. So let me see what travel papers I have and I can find. I've got the plane tickets. I like this paper with the little airplanes and this stamps, but I also like this stripe. What if I did like this and then put these on? It'll cover up, it's very busy paper. It'll cover up most of this, but it'll give me just kind of that look. Oh, and then I could use the inside of this blue. All right, so let's take this piece and we're going to gut it. We're going to do the 1-inch frame by putting the paper at 1 inch, starting our housing at 1 inch and going down. And it's easy with the 1-inch frame because you just do the edge of your housing to the edge of your paper, and that tells you when you've hit that 1 inch. So you start at the edge up here. Oops. Start the edge up here and then go down to the bottom. Apparently I need to zoom out just a smidge. All right. Oh, I turned my trimmer, not my paper. That was funny. All right. So I'm starting the edge of my housing with the edge of my paper. Down here to the edge of my housing, the edge of my paper. That's the 1 inch. If you do other measurements, you have to do, it's a little bit harder. And Megan has her fun binder clips thing. And I actually have binder clips under here, but I never use them because I'm lazy. Okay, so there's the frame. And then this piece, I want to leave a 1/2 inch all the way around, which means I have to cut 1 inch off two sides. 1 inch off this side, turn it 90 degrees, cut 1 inch off that side. I also have like an airplane embellishment in here that I can use. And I don't know if I can use any of these. Maybe this little plane ticket thing. Those little things. Oh, look, some starbursts. Oh, I could use one of these for my journaling. So maybe I'll use something like that. I kind of wish I would have printed this a little bit smaller because it's taking more space than I feel like it's worth, and maybe I need to go do that. I feel like this has an up and down. Oh, it goes in all the directions. But I'm going to put my, my friend Sherry Tilley, she does, her Facebook, or her YouTube is Scrapping with Sherry. She's been going through the project recipe book that came out last fall, and that's been fun. Plus, she just has the best Alabama accent. I love listening to her. But I always put my adhesive on the top paper, and she puts it on this bottom. And I think I like this better because, well, except that I just did that. But that way you know that your adhesive isn't going to go off and stick to your workspace while you're trying to work. But I do it either way, depending on what I'm doing. But she's kind of trained me. She's the one that taught me how to weld, too. So I owe a lot to Sherry. That one, I think, is the top. About a 1/2 inch. I think I was only going to leave a 1/4 inch, wasn't I? And then I just did a 1/2 inch. Oh, well. I'll do it this way because that's going to be my corner. So I think I need to mat these, and I can use this paper. And I do think I'm going to go print these 3 papers about I don't know, a little bit smaller. caught on my trimmer when I was moving my trimmer. I thought I heard something crumple. I need like a big U-shaped desk where I can have like all my trimming on one side and all my assembly on another side and not make such a mess. Because I'm this all being so small and then this being so giant, I think, yeah, unfortunately, I think I didn't keep the article that I printed it from. Oh, I'll cut that one a little small. I don't know how that happened. I've either cut it crooked or yeah, that's better. All right, let me go. I have to reprint all of this because it's too much of a pain. I don't mind this being the size that it is. And maybe this is all right. I'm feeling lazy. I don't really want to have to go cut, I don't have to go print another paper. If I just put this here, this here, this here. I could trim a little bit off the edges. I could probably trim a little. I think I'm going to put this on a paper. I'll use this paper. Because that way I can overlap it a little bit. It's easy enough when you're printing stuff on your printer to, you know, print it at 70% or whatever. I printed it at 100%, but I think if I put it on here, then I can trim off some of the sides and squish it down a little bit more together. Okay, so now we'll put this on here. And I can cut that off that edge. I'll cut this off the bottom edge. That off the top. It would have been nice if I would have. Oh, look, I can even do this. All right, I'm going to mat this on here. So both of these have mats. And I love that I was able to use the inside of the piece that I cut out. So this didn't take me 3 pieces of paper to make this fit. And I don't know why, but I like the photo trimmer for whenever I can use it. I love a guillotine style trimmer. Before the Creative Memories 12-inch trimmer, my favorite trimmer was the a tonic giant 12x12 guillotine trimmer, which I loved. And I would take it to retreats and stuff, and I'd bring it out, and people would be like, "What the heck is that thing? That looks like what my my 3rd grade teacher used to have in her classroom." And you know, it balanced on my lap and whatever, but it's just like a trimmer that cuts straight every time. And I think there's just something about a guillotine trimmer that makes my heart happy. So we'll put this right here, this right here, this right here. And then I think I'm going to put, I could trim some of that off. I don't need all that ceiling at the airport in Orlando. Since this is not Katie, that's better. A little bit more. I'd like to have this, leave a little gap here That can go all the way up to the top. This can come here. Where's the little airplane? Oh, it's right here. I can put this little ticket, passport ticket. Airplane goes that way. Kind of needs to be on a cloud. I don't know if you can really see it on there. But let me stick this down, and I'm gonna find some, I need some navy blue stickers, and we don't have navy, we have that bright blue. Let's just dump all these guys out. I've got this little circle. I wonder what that's from. Probably from Project Recipe or so. Oh, look. Look what I have. Canceled. Perfect. Yay. Hooray for Passport to Adventure. All of this stuff. Oh, and then I can use that as a title, and I don't have to color on any stickers. Canceled. Do this and this up here at the top. I like the little cloud. Oh, I got that airplane. Maybe I'll put that airplane. I feel like he shows up better. I don't like the bigger one. I like these little journaling boxes, but they're kind of too small. And this one says location, travel itinerary. I don't want any of those things. I could use that one. Today we went, the best part was, location, date, best part, adventure. That one could work. That one could work. That one could work. Too small. I kind of like these little star things. Oh, I heart travel. I don't think we're going to use that for this layout. All right. Travel far. We won't use on time or home away or any of these things. Adventure, departure, passport, layover. But I think we could use those. I'll scroll down a little bit so you don't have to see quite how messy my desktop is. I wish I didn't have to see how messy it was. I want for sure, I kind of like this one just because it's big. I wish one of these was bigger. I like the shape of this one. Maybe I need to put this, I could do a couple of clouds. But I need to talk about how we all went up to Jacksonville. I think that works as a title. I like the big airplane though. Yeah, I think I need to use a little one though. I think it's too big. All right. I'm a little scared to journal on here in case I mess it up. I think I'm actually going to test this out on a scrap paper, like write out what I'm going to say. Oh, look, I have this I can use as a scrap paper. I think I'm going to write out what I'm going to say, make sure that it fits, and then I'm going to transfer it to here. And if I need this other one, I'll use that other one. So let me do all that, and then I will come back. Okay, so I did my practice journaling, and it fits perfectly on this, but it's not going to fit in that square. And I don't know if I can write smaller to make it fit, if I should, or if I should just do it on a piece of like blue or, you know, white. I messed up, so I can't use this piece, but maybe I'll just, I don't know, I'd like to make it fit. Ugh. I think I might just try to write smaller. All right, so stay tuned. Okay, I made it work. I wrote really tiny, and then I wrote the rest on this little piece. Let's see if we can make this all work together. I'd like to put in a little thing about, this has the date at the bottom. I don't want the date at the bottom. I want to say something about how that probably made it more fun for Michelle to go visit, who ordinarily doesn't love when I go visit my friend in Jacksonville. All right, I'm going to cut this because I want it to go in that direction. I think I'm going to say that. But let's put this down first. Actually, I'm kind of glad that I have this extra back page because I wanted to talk about this. You know, this was a, you know, when you're vacation with your family and then you get extra time together, that's always fun. I don't like here it says location. I don't want it to say location. I want to cover that up somehow. So maybe I will. No, I don't think I can use this one. I think I will just have to use this one. Maybe I'll say, I said, so we picked her up and took her with us to visit our friends in Jacksonville, then put her on a flight out of Jackson next morning. And I'll say that we were glad to have extra time with Katie, especially Michelle, who doesn't always love the detours to visit mom's BFF. All right, so I don't love that they put the lines so far apart. I needed to like write over the lines, but I think it's okay. And then here it had this place to put the date again, but I already put the date on here. So I'm just going to trim this, but I want the little rick-racky edge. So I'm just going to trim this and then tape it down, and nobody's ever going to know that. I think I want that a little shorter, actually. Nobody's ever going to know that I doctored this. Unless, of course, you know, whoever designed this collection looks at this someday. Haha, which she won't. All right, and then I just need to put the airplane and the... I'll put that at a little bit of an angle, too. Oh, I like that I got all of this journaling on here. I'm going to put that on foam squares. There were two little clouds, I thought. Are they the same color? They are the same color. I think I'm going to put one of these here. Oh, there's three clouds. That's that one right there. Get some foam squares. Maybe some little foam squares because this airplane has some little tiny pieces. I'm still using up my stash of foam squares from before they made the variety pack. You know, we used to get one sheet of these medium-sized ones and one sheet of the small ones. And I always use these first, and then I'd be stuck with tons of these little small ones. And then, I don't know, it's been probably a year or so ago that they switched it to have the variety pack where you get some of like 4 different sizes on each sheet. Way nicer. I much prefer that, but a little tiny one on that edge of that wing. Whenever I cut little pieces off of these, even these small ones, I like to do it while it's still on the backing sheet. It's so much easier. All right, that's probably good. All right, we'll put this is going to come up on some foam squares, and this is going to be on some foam squares. This might be two. These are just the right size. Just have to make sure I get them exactly centered so they don't poke off the edge. And again, I'm using probably more foam squares than need to be used. I know a lot of other people are much more frugal with their foam squares and just use one or two, but I don't want my thing to squish down and have weird bumps in it later. Although this is going to be the back cover is going to be right here, so that will make this maybe a little bit less likely to get squished. All right, canceled. And then I have these little things I thought I might use. Maybe I'll put a blue one here and a yellow one down here. Oh, I almost had them in the wrong direction. That's the north right there. I'll use the blue. Oh, and then I need to write on here, sorry, this is where we called instead of texting. And I feel like now, because I wrote on here, I need to write something else up here. But I think I don't. I think it's done. So basically, we got 2 layouts for the price of 1 on this final episode of Theme Park Thursday, which is number 86. I'm so thrilled to have had you along for this journey for 86 weeks. 86 weeks, you guys. That is really a compliment. I appreciate all of your wonderful comments and the interactions that we've had. I love it when I run into people at different places and they say, hey, watch your YouTube channel. So thanks for doing that, for the comments and subscribes. And I will be back. Maybe I'll do the album flip through I'll try to have it ready for Monday. I'll get the album flip through done in the next couple of days and publish that. I'm going to do all 3 volumes in one because I'm not going to talk as much about the layouts because I've talked about the layouts as we've gone through. And I will, I guess I could come back and link to that, but you'll just have to come on my channel to find it. And then I'll try on Thursday to see if we can start season 2 of Theme Park Thursday. So thanks for watching this 2-for-1 layout. Only people that stay to the end are going to know that they got 2 layouts for 1 out of this this week's episode. So thanks again for watching this whole series, the whole season 1, the whole series. We'll call it series 1. This whole series of Theme Park Thursday. I'm glad that many of you are excited that I'm going to continue doing it. I'm excited about doing it. Maybe we can finish it in less than 86 weeks. Maybe it'll take more. I guess we'll find out. So thanks so much. I'll be back again next week, Thursday, with another edition of Theme Park Thursday, and hopefully Monday with the flip through of all of these albums that we've put together. Thanks a lot, and happy scrapbooking.